old City Hall had loomed over downtown for as long as anyone could remember. Its once stately columns and cracked stone facade now smothered in graffiti and crawling ivy. It had been closed for decades, and no one, not even the city's oldest residents, could say exactly why. The stories were always the same. Something about a scandal, or corruption, or a fire. But no one ever offered real details. For a group of high school kids in the nearby suburbs, though, it was the perfect target for a prank. Tyler, the ringleader of their little crew, grinned as he hefted a crowbar out of his backpack. "Ready to make history?" he said. Behind him, Sam, Emma, and Josh exchanged nervous glances. "Are you sure about this?" Emma asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Come on," Tyler said, rolling his eyes. "It's just an old building. What's the worst that could happen?" The worst that could happen was something none of them could have imagined. They circled the perimeter until they found a boarded-up side entrance. With a grunt, Tyler jammed the crowbar between the planks and pried the wood loose, revealing a door with peeling paint. It groaned as it swung open. Inside, the air was stale, thick with the scent of mold and rot. Their footsteps echoed on cracked tile floors. The main hall stretched out before them, its high ceilings adorned with long dead chandeliers that swayed gently in a breeze none of them could feel. Dust motes danced in the flashlight beams as they explored. Old office furniture lay overturned, papers scattered and faded with age. A massive wooden desk stood at the far end, half buried in collapsed plaster. "Looks like it's been abandoned forever," Sam said. Emma shivered. "It feels wrong." They continued deeper into the building, finding themselves drawn to a massive staircase at the center. The air grew colder as they descended, their breath frosting in the beams of their flashlights. At the bottom of the stairs, they found a locked metal door. The lock had rusted through, and with a few hard shoves from Josh and Tyler, it finally gave way. The door swung open with a shriek of rusted hinges. Behind it was a long corridor lined with office doors. Unlike the main hall, this area looked preserved. The walls were clean, the floor tiles free of dust. Each door bore a nameplate, their brass still shining. "This doesn't make sense," Sam murmured. As they moved down the corridor, something else struck them: the silence. The air was too still. No sound of rats or insects. No distant echo of traffic. Just the heavy silence of a place that had been waiting. At the end of the corridor, they found a door labeled Mayor's Office. "Let's check it out," Tyler said, but his voice trembled. Inside, the office was immaculate, almost as if the mayor had just stepped out. A mahogany desk sat under a grand window, stacks of yellowed papers neatly arranged. A framed portrait of a man with cold eyes and a thin smile hung on the wall. On the desk lay an old tape recorder. Josh reached for it. "Should we play it?" Before anyone could object, he pressed the button. The tape crackled to life. "This is Mayor Eldridge. To whoever finds this, I'm sorry." There was a long pause and the sound of heavy breathing. "They told me I could control it. They said it would only be temporary, just long enough to fix the budget shortfall. But I was wrong. We were all wrong. It came from the basement. We found it buried under the old foundation when we started renovations. They said it was some kind of crypt, but it wasn't empty. It was waiting. It feeds on the town, on the people, on us. I sealed the doors, locked it away, but it was too late. The council, the staff, they're all gone, consumed. I'm leaving this building now. If you find this. The tape cut off with a shriek of static. A sudden bang echoed from somewhere deep in the building. Emma gasped. What was that? They froze, listening. At first, it sounded like distant footsteps, but then the sound changed, becoming heavier, wetter, as though something was dragging itself across the floor. Josh's flashlight flickered and went out. They ran. They bolted from the office and raced back down the corridor, but the pristine walls were now peeling, the air thick with the scent of decay. Doors banged open as they passed, as if something was following them. They reached the stairs, but the way up was gone, collapsed into rubble. We have to find another way, Tyler shouted. They retraced their steps, desperate, but the hallways seemed to stretch and shift. The walls pulsed with a faint, sickly glow. Sam screamed as a thing, emerged from one of the office doors. It was a black dripping mass with too many fingers, too many mouths. It grabbed his ankle and yanked him inside. His screams were abruptly cut off. Sam! Emma shrieked, tears streaming down her face. Keep moving, Josh yelled. They stumbled into what looked like a records room. Metal filing cabinets overturned and rusted. The walls were covered in strange symbols, scrawled in a mix of ash and something darker. Emma's flashlight beam caught something in the far corner, a large, sealed hatch set into the floor. The symbols led to it, converging like a funnel. It's trying to keep us here, she whispered. Josh yanked at the hatch handle, and with a groan of metal, it gave way. The hatch opened, revealing a narrow tunnel that led into darkness. With no other choice, they climbed down. The tunnel was tight and damp, the walls covered in claw marks. Their breathing echoed back at them, but there was another sound beneath it. A wet, whispering voice that spoke in a language none of them understood. They emerged into a vast underground chamber. In the center stood a stone altar, and on it, a pulsing black mass. It was alive, shifting and quivering, tendrils slithering out to probe the air. Faces appeared and disappeared in the surface, twisted, screaming faces. Emma clapped a hand over her mouth. It's the council, the staff, everyone. Josh trembled. It's still feeding. The mass pulsed, and a low, guttural sound filled the chamber, something between a laugh and a growl. The ground trembled. We have to get out of here, Tyler yelled. They turned to run, but the tunnel behind them was gone. The walls closed in, the stone itself folding and shifting like flesh. The last thing they heard was the wet, whispering voice, now loud, now clear, speaking their names. One by one, they were pulled into the mass, swallowed by the thing that had been waiting, feeding, beneath the city hall. The next morning, when city maintenance workers arrived to inspect the old building after reports of strange lights and noises, they found the side door sealed tight again, as though it had never been pried open. And somewhere, deep in the basement, beneath the foundation, something pulsed and waited for the next group of curious souls.